So speaking of all the feelings, the big one, I suppose, for all of us over the last couple of years has been a bit of loneliness, social isolation, working from
Mm.
home, not being able to see family and friends interstate. There is a study that's a timely warning for those of us working from home or living by ourselves. What does this study tell us?
Yeah, look, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. We are fundamentally social creatures, right? We're used to working in communities, in teams. We're not designed to be cooped up on our own. And in fact, our bodies find it really stressful. And this long term stress will affect every cell in our body, literally every cell, right down to the level of our DNA. And a meta analysis from a few years ago showed that long term social isolation for many years results in a 26% increase in death, right? So this is not good. And this new study basically mapped how social isolation will actually change our brain structure. And they found this out using brain scans.
Right. So is this a little bit of neuroplasticity when it comes to the brain adapting to a new, social pattern? Or how do you account for this effect, if you like?
Yeah, well, look, it is. It's our brain adapting to this new situation of essentially chronic stress. So stress is more than just this feeling of being anxious or uncomfortable. It's a physiological response in our body, which is driven by all of these hormones that flood our body, like cortisol, adrenaline, and it's physically changing our body. But we're not really designed to be exposed to that stress over many weeks to months to years. And when we do, our body has to adapt in what we would say, I guess, a negative way. And when it's doing that, what this study showed is that you have shrinkage in certain brain regions. So, for example, we have shrinkage in the temporal lobe, which is involved in long-term memory. You have shrinkage in the frontal lobe, which is really important for our decision making, for our attention, for our personality, for understanding what's socially appropriate. So people who have been stressed through this isolation, you have a harder time controlling your impulses. You have a harder time making good decisions. You have a harder time, paying attention and focusing on things. And we also know that the hippocampus, the memory center of the brain, that also shrinks. And I think what's really interesting here is that all these different brain areas are actually implicated in Alzheimer's disease, the most common form of dementia. And this study really indicated that people who were going to be social isolated for a long period of time, they had this 26% increased risk in dementia about 12 years down the track.
Wow, fascinating.